Nowadays, you see a lot of people complaining about how music isn't worth what it used to be worth. With the introduction of streaming, music has gone down the toilet. Like, bands don't get paid very much anymore for music because it's 0.00003 pound per stream, and we used to get one CD sale and it was selling for £10. And we've seen this argument before that when it went from like vinyl to CD, and the CD is killing the industry because it's so much cheaper and artists aren't going to get paid as much. And like, why would you ruin the industry this way by making it so that artists don't earn the amount of money that they deserve? Because our music is worth something and you're not respecting that. I hate to break it to you, but your music was never worth anything anyway. Before you start arguing in the comments, I'm gonna contradict myself a little bit later on to kind of pull back onto your side. What I mean by music isn't worth anything is music is only valued, when we're talking generally, by the format in which it is presented. Vinyl is worth more than CD because vinyl is more expensive to produce. CDs are more expensive than streams because they're more expensive to create. To create a stream, you just make a thing online, which is super cheap to do, and then beam it to someone's ears, which is super cheap to do in the internet age. A CD, you have to print the thing and do the thing and whatever, and vinyl, you have to do that, but it's a bit more expensive. So vinyls are worth more than CDs because of the cost to make the thing. CDs are worth more than streams because of the cost to make the thing. The music stays the same across all three, and the price is different because of the format that it's on, which means that the music itself isn't actually worth anything. That CD isn't worth what the music is worth. It's worth what the CD is worth. It just happens to be that there's music on it. So that is a generalization of what recorded music is worth. But it is slightly more complicated than that, and music is worth something. Music does have value, obviously. But we have to think about it differently. We can't just think about it in terms of the physical thing. We can't just say, well, streams should be worth as much as CDs. Spotify should pay us more. They're already losing money. Stop doing that argument. They will go out of business and you will regret it because Spotify is fucking great for your band and you know it. So we have to think about value in music differently than just that. There's loads of different ways that we can think about it. The main way is we have to think about supply and demand. The main thing to take away from this is that the amount of effort and money put into something does not dictate its worth. The only time that that is the case is if you have a monopoly and can just fucking choose a price, which you don't. So you can't, so you have to think about value in a different way. If you spend a fucking ton of time on making a sandwich and you put all this effort in, you put all this money in, and then you decide it's worth £400, it's not fucking worth £400. No one's going to buy it. They're going to buy the other sandwiches. Really, it's worth as basically the same as every other fucking sandwich. So you've got to charge the same as every other sandwich. That's how music works. You could choose. You could set up your own website, put a song up to stream, and charge people £10 to stream it. And no one's going to fucking do it. Because that's not what it's actually valued at. That's not what it's actually worth. Which is why Spotify and Apple Music and Deezer and Tidal set their prices where they do, because that's where the demand is. That's the right thing. So, Joe, you've definitely seen this. I've definitely seen this. You at home have almost definitely seen this, where it's like a meme format photo that's talking about, oh, my guitar cost this much. My van cost this much. I spent this much money on guitar lessons. We spent this much money on our drum kit. We spend this much money on petrol, and we still only get paid £150 for a show. You're justifying why you should get paid more for playing to an empty room by mentioning the fact that costs went into the equipment and experiences that got you here. And that's just not how it works. That is just bollocks. You're saying, oh, all these costs went into this thing. You should underwrite those costs because you're now hiring me because of that thing. You are being paid to do a job irrelevant of everything else. If two people have the same job, one of them has to travel further, they will get paid the same. If you were the person that travels further to that job, you would not have a leg to stand on by saying, well, I should get paid more because I have to travel further. It just how it is. That job is worth the amount that you're getting paid. Every other circumstance around it, unless it's something that's actually covered by like workers' rights, is irrelevant. It doesn't fucking matter. So you playing to 4 people in a pub on a Friday in Southampton is worth the same no matter how much money you put into making that happen. With live shows, you don't get to choose the value. The value is chosen by the demand that's there. So if you're good, there is a higher demand. If you're a really well-liked band and there's loads of people that want to see you, you can probably put the price of the tickets up because there's a lot of people that want to see you. Some of them will be more than happy to pay that price. So that market kind of dictates itself. However much people are willing to pay is probably the limit in which it's worth. You don't get to pick that. It's not about the amount of hours that goes into it. It's not about anything to do with skill or quality unless the crowd that's dictating it via the demand values that thing enough to let that influence how much they would pay for that thing, if that makes sense. If you're doing a really, really good show and you put loads of hours into it and people see that and go, I would pay an extra 50 quid, and then you charge an extra 50 quid, you're all good. It takes a while to find the balance, but if you find the balance, then that is exactly where the market is. That is what the value is. You don't get to pick that, they do. If we go back to recorded music, we can take this a little bit further. Wu-Tang Clan made an album a little while ago, and I don't know how the conversation went. I don't know who started the conversation, but there was a very, very rich person that was like, I really like you, Wu-Tang Clan. Could I give you a fucking ton of money so that I get the only copy of that album and then you just never release it and no one ever gets to hear it? And obviously some conversation went down, and then they decided that something like 10 million, I'll interject the actual number here, was the amount in which they would be more than happy to just give an album to one person and never release it publicly. Now, you could argue that that number could have been higher if we weren't in the streaming economy and they knew for a fact that they were never going to earn that amount of money if they did just release it out. Yeah, okay, whatever, that probably had influence. But we could say that the value of that Wu-Tang Clan album is 10 million, which is true. But they didn't decide that. The guy paying for it did. So we gotta get out of this mindset that we can choose how much this stuff's worth, because we can't. Streams are worth a certain amount. There's nothing you can do about it. CDs are worth a certain amount. There is nothing you can do about it. Vinyl's worth a certain amount. There's nothing you can do about it. Live shows are worth a certain amount. There's nothing you can do about it. Except there is, and the thing that you can do about it is create that demand. Get good. Become the original band that has the success that can make an album and sell it to one person for 10 million. That's what you need to do. You don't argue that Spotify needs to pay more for streams. You just get good, get success, create the demand, then your value will increase. And here's how you can do that. So to create worth, to create any kind of buzz around your band, you've got to fill a few criteria. The main one is be original, because especially in the internet age, if you're doing anything that people have done before, what's the fucking point? Now more than ever, everyone is more than happy to tell you that you're just basically a rip-off of that thing. And that's not a good start. So most things that get popular, whether you like them or not, have some hint of originality to them. There is something about them that makes them different from everything else, with a pinch of salt. So you gotta do that. It's not the easiest thing to do, it's not the funnest thing to do, but actually having something about you as an artist that is original will go a long way. You gotta be good. We have videos about how you can be good. Bear in mind here that we aren't talking specifically about any part of the music industry. Like, if we were talking about mainstream pop, yeah, originality is probably not the best place to start, because there's not many people that come out of that industry that are original. But let's face it, it's incredibly unlikely that anybody is going to actually make it in the mainstream pop industry. So let's not try. Let's try and make it elsewhere, because we actually stand a chance. And elsewhere, originality is kind of important. You need to stand out from the bunch. A long, long, long time ago, we did a video that was something like how to be unique. And if I've got the footage, I'll put it here. I threw a stone onto a load of other stones, and then I covered a stone in coloured tape and threw it in, and it was like, which one do you notice? You notice the one that's unique. You notice the one that stands out. You got to do that. You got to stand out. That doesn't immediately give you worth, but it gives you the starting point to build worth, because all of a sudden people have noticed you. Now it's your responsibility to make good music and carry them through as a fan to then start building your worth. You sell the tickets, you ramp up the price, and then all of a sudden your music is worth more. You've added value. All of that starts by you being original. To say a few things that we've said in other videos, you gotta be authentic. You gotta be honest in the things that you're doing. So the music that you're making, the stories that you're telling with the music that you're making, and the story that you portray as an artist of who you are has to be authentic. People don't believe in that shit if it's not. This means that you shouldn't do something fake in the name of originality. Don't do some shit gimmick that, yes, would make you original, but would also take away any authenticity, because chances are that's going to be really short-lived. You might get away with being a short fad because it's so quirky that you get one music video go viral, but you're not creating worth. Nobody is giving the time of day to fucking Chico, who had that one hit with Chico Time. His music ain't worth so much. His gig tickets ain't worth so much. He didn't create much worth. So lose the gimmicks, create genuine originality, and you'll have a much better time. So just to recap, your music isn't inherently worth anything. The long-standing mindset that musicians have, that music is worth something, and then streaming came around and now it's not worth anything, that's just about the format in which it's displayed. That never worked. That music was never worth anything in that regard anyway. It was just vinyl was worth something, CD was worth something. Streaming is worth something, it's just not worth much. Your music was never worth anything in regards to that anyway. You've got to create demand. How would you create demand? Be good, be original, like, do the thing that you're obviously already trying to do. You've just got to be in the mindset that that is the reason why you're not earning money from music, not because Spotify doesn't pay as much as you want it to. Change the fight. You aren't fighting against Spotify, you're fighting against every other band for the eyeballs and ears of the audience. So fight the fight that you're supposed to fight, and you will be more likely to win it. So with that, good luck. The rest of the videos on this channel will probably help you out if you do want to, like, subscribe. If not, cool, fine. See you later. Everybody else, thank you for watching this video. Yeah, we'll see you next Saturday for your weekly scheduled music club. Don't know why I signed it off like that, but that's just